coming to the next class is the nutrition and the fungi, right? We already known about the nutrition process. If the single option we have to choose for the nutrition of the fungi, no doubt about it, choose saprophytic nutrition within the fungi. Okay, what type of nutrition is basically seen? Saprophytic nutrition, right? And see options within the options. Okay, there is a saprophytic nutrition is there, parasitic nutrition is there, and symbiotic nutrition is there. Definitely the last bit, last option is the all of the above. Then we have to choose the all of the above. Okay, only single bit we have to, only single option we have to choose, right? In that case, saprophytic nutrition is the answer. So that is about that nutrition, right? So here the very first thing is that saprophytic nutrition grown on dung and decaying parts, especially whatever that plant parts and decaying plant parts are there. Maybe the stem, maybe the root, and maybe the leaves. Different types of decaying parts are there, right? So the decaying is done by that saprophytic fungi, and some are grown on the dung, some are grown on the dung. One of the best example, mucor, M-U-C-O-R, mucor is the fungi, right? That fungi is also grown on the surface of the dung. That fungi is also grown on the surface of the dung, right? So that is about that grown on dung and decaying organisms. Means whatever the decaying parts are there, especially plant parts or the animal parts, right? So the decaying process done by the saprophytic fungi. See, one of the best example, bread mold, we discussed already. This is also called pig mold, that is nothing but rhizobus. See, there is an extracellular digestion will be takes place. That extracellular digestion means whatever that rhizoidal fungi are there, whatever that rhizoidal hyphae is there, that rhizoidal hyphae releases a group of enzymes. Okay, that extracellular enzymes act on the bread and bread parts digested, right? Bread and bread part digested, right? Then after the digestion process, the rhizoidal hyphae absorbs the nutrients. So the process is here extracellular digestion. And coming to next is the parasitic nutrition. See here the parasitic nutrition means, remember, one of the host cell is there and parasitic organism is there. See, we know the parasites, organisms which are grown on other organisms or inside the cells. Means maybe the surface of the cells, maybe the inside cells. Okay, maybe the inside the host cells. Simple. This is one of the host cell. This is the surface. Some of the parasites are survived on the surface of the host cells, and some of the parasites are survived inside the cell. Okay, the concept is here destruction of the host cells. Here examples are albugo, we discussed in the last class. There is a cruciferase, right? There is a white rust disease, right? And phytophthora, right? There is a wheat rust disease also there. And this is a phytophthora. There is an iris, okay? Iris disease, and that is about that albugo and the phytophthora. And this is about the parasitic nutrition. See, this is the major one because we already discussed about these two types of the nutrition, but we are new to this one. Here there is a symbiotic relationship or symbiotic nutrition. The nutrition is called as symbiotic nutrition. A mutual relationship between two different organisms. And both the organisms are getting benefit here. So that kind of nutrition is called as symbiotic nutrition, right? And remember, examples are here lichens. We already discussed within that five kingdom classification. There is no place for the lichens and the viruses. That is one of the demerit of the five kingdom classification. So why the lichens are not included in the five kingdom classification? Because these are dual organisms. So why these are called dual organisms? Simple. Why these are called dual organisms? One of the part is the fungi part. The fungi part is called as mycobiota. The fungi part, I will mention here. The fungi part is called as mycobiota. And other one is that algae part, phycobiota. We know about the plants, phycology, study about plants, right? So phycobiota. Here, mycology, study about fungi is called as mycology. So mycobiota, fungi part, and the phycobiota. There is an algae part. Algae are related to that very first plants, right? In certain cases, blue-green algae. Remember, blue-green algae means these are the bacteria. Blue-green algae indicates here bacteria. Best example is the cyanobacteria. Best example is the cyanobacteria. Algae indicates here plants. Algae indicates here plants. So the fungi is interacting with either algae or blue-green algae. Either algae or blue-green algae, right? So the algae part interact with that fungi, or blue-green algae part, or cyanobacteria part interact with the fungi. So two different organisms are interacting. That's the reason why these organisms are called as dual organisms. These organisms are called as dual organisms. So, sir, you said about phycobiota, there is an algae is there, or blue-green algae is there. So, what about the fungi? First of all of you remember, okay, definitely, definitely, after two classes, we have to discuss about that classification of fungi. So, here I like to discuss about that basic explanation regarding to the classification, or I like to discuss about major types of subclasses which are present in the fungi. Or I like to discuss about the classification of fungi. So if we classify the fungi, there is a Phycomycetes. Phycomycetes is the first type of fungi, and next one is there is an Ascomycetes. This is the second type of fungi, and third one is Basidiomycetes. Right? This is the third type of fungi, and the fourth one is the Deuteromycetes. Deuteromycetes. So this is about the types of the fungi. So in these types of the fungi, which one is interact with algae or blue-green algae? Or okay, which type of fungi are involved in the mycobiota formation? Which type of fungi are involved in the mycobiota formation? This is a very important bit. Ascomycetes and the Basidiomycetes. Ascomycetes and Basidiomycetes. These two are majorly involved in the mycobiota formation. Right? So these are the two different organisms. How these organisms, okay, both are getting benefit. The symbiosis process makes both the organisms are getting benefit. So these are the two different organisms. How both the organisms are getting benefit. For suppose most of the students are well known, phycobiota means algae or the blue-green algae performs the photosynthesis. These organisms performs the photosynthesis. Some we know plants prepare their food material by the photosynthesis process. Then once the algae part synthesize the food material, then fungi absorbs the food. The fungi part absorbs the food from the algae or the blue-green algae. The fungi part, these are the saprophytes. Saprophytes. See, algae and blue-green algae, these are autotrophs. So this one prepares the food material. The food material is absorbed by the fungi. So here, some fungi getting benefit. Then, what is the benefit to the algae part or blue-green algae part? What is the benefit to algae part or the blue-green algae part? Simple. See, the fungi forms the trizoidal hyphae. The fungi forms, generally we know, trizoidal hyphae, and that trizoidal hyphae absorbs the nutrients, especially minerals, water, right? Absorption of nutrients and water from the soil, or absorption of nutrients and water from the surface of the different types of the rocks. Mostly these are grown on the surface of the rocks. So the fungi part absorb nutrients and water, supplies to the algae or blue-green algae part. And algae or blue-green algae absorbs the light energy, synthesizes food material. So that food material is absorbed by the fungi. So one is involved in the absorption of nutrients and the water, other one is involved in the photosynthesis process. So both these organisms are getting benefit. Right? That is about the types of the nutrients which are seen in fungi. Right? Yeah. Coming to the next topic is the reproduction. Before going to discuss about the reproduction process, and one of the small topics is there is nothing but mycorrhiza. See, we know rhiza indicates here roots. Myco indicates here fungi. See, some of the plants are there. The plants having the roots. That roots unable to absorb the nutrients. In certain plants, the roots are not properly working, or the roots not have the capacity to absorb the nutrients. In that case, fungi are there. That fungi interact with the roots. Right? So once the fungi are interact with the roots, these fungi are supporting for the absorption. Of water and minerals. Right? So that kind of fungi is called as mycorrhiza. And that kind of roots are called as mycorrhizal roots. Right? In some of the plants, mycorrhizal roots are also present. The plant example is pinus plant. Pinus plant roots interact with the fungi, supporting for the absorption of water and minerals from the soil. Right? That is about the mycorrhiza. And coming to this concept, reproduction process. Right? See, the reproduction, we know there is an asexual reproduction is there and sexual reproduction is there. Today we will discuss about the asexual reproduction process. Within that asexual reproduction process, one of the type is the vegetative reproduction process. Vegetative reproduction means we know whatever the cells are there or whatever the body structure is there, the body structure or the body cells involved in the formation of the new organisms. The body, whatever that organism is there, fungi organism, the body involved in the formation of new organisms. So that kind of reproduction is called as vegetative reproduction process. So we know about the fragmentation process. Whenever the organism is there, when the organism is breaking down into the many number of fragments, and each fragment have the capacity to produce the new organism. So that kind of reproduction is called as fragmentation process, right? And fragmentation process mostly seen in all types of fungi. And one of the best example we know about this process, budding. this is one of the fungi, and this is the nucleus of the fungi, right? And here this is the unicellular fungi. The best example is the yeast. Unicellular fungi. The best example is the yeast, right? See, this is the fungi and this is the parental cell. That parental cell involved in the small bud-like structures formation. Small bud-like structures formation. So this is the bud structure. The bud structure developed into the daughter cell. The bud structure developed into the daughter cell. Concept is very simple. Whatever that parental cells are there, the parental cells involved in the small bud-like structures formation. See, there is a nucleus division is takes place here, and cytoplasm of this daughter cell continuously increased. There is nothing but the daughter cell size is continuously increased. So finally, the daughter cell is detached from the daughter cell is detached from the parental cell. The process is called as budding. Right? That is about the budding. We know the budding best example is the yeast. Right? And coming to the next one is the non-motile spores. See, here asexual reproduction process. Asexual reproduction process is done by the spores production. Here, asexual reproduction process within the fungi done by the spores production. Spores are produced. These are asexual spores. Remember that asexual spores again divided into here two types. One is non-motile spores, other one is the motile spores. One is the non-motile, means here flagellus or locomotory organs are absent. Flagellus or locomotory organs are absent. Here flagellus or locomotory organs are present. Mostly flagellus, right? So here flagellus are absent, here flagellus are present, right? And the very first one is the non-motile spores. The very first one is the sporangio spores. The very first one is the sporangio spores. Sporangio spores means we already discussed about one of the rhizopus structure. Within that rhizopus structure, there is a rhizoidal hyphae. This is the rhizoidal hyphae, and this is the reproductive hyphae. Reproductive hyphae is there, and within that reproductive hyphae, some of the cells involved in the cell division by the mitosis process, and spores are produced within that inside that. This is called as sporangium. Right? Inside the sporangium, there is a sporangio spores are present. Right? So that is about one type of non-motile spores. These are sporangio spores. Right? Coming to the next one is corydiospores. That is the first one. Right? This is the second one. Corydiospores. Right? And the corydiospores, right? See, this is one of the corydioid structure, and these are the spores. Corydioid structure, and these are the spores. See, the best example is here, penicillium. We know about the penicillium fungi, right? The penicillium fungi forms the corydiospores. Here the spores are continuously produced by the mitosis process. Here also mitosis. Right? So the corydiospores are produced here. This is about that corydiospores. Penicillium corydiospores are produced. Right? And next one is the applanospores. Applanospores, these are thick cells, or thick cell wall, thick cell wall having thick cell wall having cells large in size. Large in size. The cells which are having thick cell wall, right? And the size is large. These are non-motile. Remember, I already mentioned here these are non-motile spores. So, Aplonospores, these are non-motile. These are non-motile. And the Conidiospores also, these are also non-motile. Right? And Sporangiospores, these are also non-motile. These are also non-motile. Right? So here these are the three types of the spores are there. These are the three types of the spores are there. Right? There is an Aplonospores are there, Conidiospores are there, Sporangiospores are there. Right? Coming to the last one is the here in this actually first coming to the last one is the motile spores, which are able to move. The organisms are able to move. Right? Maybe here flagellas are present, then which have the capacity to move. Right? So here examples are Hydium, and we know Phytophthora. Right? Phytophthora. These are the two types of the fungi which produces the motile spores. Right? Here motile spores which are able to move. Mostly here flagellas are present. Pythium, first example, and Phytophthora as a second example. So that is about that sexual reproduction process, right? And I like to say one of the important points: Sporangiospores are endospores. Sporangiospores are endospores because these are formed inside the sporangium. And Conidiospores, these are the Conidiospores. See, which are not covered by any membrane. The spores are not covered by any other covering structures. These are exospores. These spores are exospores. See, here there is a sporangium. Inside the sporangium, sporangiospores are present. Here, Conidiospores are produced, but which are not covered by any other membrane or any other structure. And Aplonospores, see, these are also endospores. Because there is a thick cell wall or covering structure is present. There is a thick cell wall and there is a covering structure is there. Right? That is about the types of non-motile spores and motile spores. In the next class we will discuss about the sexual